9 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. Please join me, or the roll call, Pat?
Ellen Anderson.
Here.
Scott Hardeman.
Here.
Monica Hassel.
Here.
Mary Kay Jacobson.
Here.
Greg Jones.
Here.
Mark McLean.
Here.
Isaac Zerker.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, there are 7 board members present, therefore we do have a quorum.
Okay, would everyone please join me in standing and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the prior board meeting of August 27th, 2025.
So moved.
A second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Those of you, I know we have a number of people have not been to one of our board meetings before. So the protocol is, the way we go about this is we have an opportunity now for people to ask questions or things are on the agenda, so we can hopefully address most of those while we go through it. We don't stop in the middle of the agenda items and have any discussions or questions, but we'll take them at the front now so that we can make sure that we try to address them during the time that we are talking about that subject. At the end, there's another opportunity for our members to ask questions or make comments or whatever it is you want to do. Both of those things are limited to 3 minutes. So we are on a time schedule because we're trying to make sure that everyone gets a chance to speak, and we really are not looking for 15, 20-minute conversations around things. So you will be on a timer for the 3 minutes, but we want to make sure that you have both opportunities to do it. And of course, if you have questions, board members will be here afterwards. You can ask those, and we always encourage, whenever you can, to get your questions in writing so we can be ready to address them at the board meeting. And if we get them, say, about a week ahead of time, then we usually can have plenty of time to make sure that we can address those questions before we get into everything. Okay. Are there any members' questions?
Nico Sergio, 62 Brummer. Is this on? Yeah, it should be. 62 Brummer Lane. You removed the revised fence policy and the exterior lighting, and you added the revised parking policy. Are you going to
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to it.
All right.
We'll explain that to you. Go ahead.
Ted Landers, 22 Amesbury Court. It's not on the agenda, but will Bill, in his report, be addressing the survey results?
Survey of what?
The member survey that was done 2 months ago and released the day after the last board meeting.
Well, we released those results to the community back in July.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, but has the board spoken about the results of that?
We
survey?
talked about it back in July, yes.
Okay.
And then this is just the next step of the process from that survey, are the focus groups.
Okay, thank you.
Because if you saw in the email, the typical quadrant you have with surveys, the area of high importance with relatively low performance, there were 3 key areas, which was leadership, communications, and dining. And those were the 3 areas we're going to focus on in the focus groups that are, and this is facilitated by Member Connect and their consultant. There will be no one else attending those meetings.
Ellie Kellerman, 62 Brummel. Kindly introduce the 2 members to the board.
We will do that.
Okay.
That's part of the thing, but we have member questions first.
Tom Ratcliffe. A few questions. First of all, has the fire department submitted their MOU Has it been received, and will it be approved? When will the board approve the fire department's request for donation for EMR training? Bill, will you give us an update on Bobby Jones in not only current events, but any negotiations going on as it pertains to Druid? Also, looking at, Bill, the police department, as you notice in this budget, it's about 20% over budget this year, so if you could address that from general manager's perspective. Mary Kay, and congratulations being the new treasurer. In the reserve over the next 10 years, can you give us an approximate number as it relates to expenses not related to amenities? So of the, I think, $70 million, about how much of that is not related, either it's M&R for other things or it's not related to amenities? And then lastly, and Isaac, congratulations on your on becoming on the board. You would have had the opportunity to attend the your first meeting after the election was announced. That meeting was the executive session for the election of officers. So if you could just, via yes or no, when you attended that executive
2 minutes,
session,
Tom, we got 1 minute left.
when you attended that executive session, is it a meeting that should have been an executive session, or is it a meeting that could have been held in public? Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? All right, Mayor Foster.
MOU and EMR conversation is pretty relevant today. I would say that about them as being the county is holding up on the MOU. From my perspective, there's nothing that's going to hold that high. The sheriff's department moved forward with their equipment and everything before that was advertised. So the chief self here, she can attest that it takes a while to get something through the county's process. It's been months and months and months, and she's contacted me a bunch about that during that process too. So it just takes a little bit of time, but I wouldn't let that MOU hold up anything personally, if that's something you want to do. Also, would like to say that the county would offer the training to you, just like we have with the sheriff and chief self, and that's avenue you would like to take. So whatever you want to do, we're here to help. We'll do as much or as little as you want. And I did want to say just a few words before we sign this next document about the EMR program that we started here in general. I believe Trumbull County continues to lead in emergency response, especially in Upper Carolina and the state of Tennessee. It's a great thing, and I hope everybody understands how powerful what we're about to do is, and the next steps as well. This thing started a few years ago, and I was talking to the Sheriff Cox about ways we can get help to people quicker. And I don't know why I was thinking about police, sheriff, all that. They're already out in the community, they're driving around, and they usually get there first. I know I've had situations in my life, I know Greg wouldn't let me do that either, but this is something that's game-changing. It's going to save lives, and I'm excited to sign this memorandum of understanding with the police department today, and I've already told the fire chief that as soon as everything's ready, I will sign theirs. And so with that, we're going to sign this thing, and I hope y'all appreciate the gravity of what we're doing here today. This is a big deal for Fairfield and Cumberland County.
It's a great moment. Thank all of you for your support in this effort as well. And as the mayor, I think, addressed your questions regarding the fire department and with regards to the funding, that's all part of the budget process as we normally go through with the fire department. So the board will be addressing that at the appropriate time. And Chief Kate would like to address your question regarding the police department budget.
Jason, please step in if I'm saying too much or not the correct things. But just to look at our budget, yeah, it's showing over budget. There's some reasons for that. We under budgeted some of our liability insurance and also insurance on the employees. We also have some different leasing agreements. So when we get contracts in, they come in throughout different times of the year due to when we sign those contracts. And the way the budgeting process is, you look at an annual, which our budget is shown to you as the public monthly. So the way that those hit are going to be different throughout the year. And then when you look at our labor, our overtime budget is a lot coming from the Teach Us So grant, which it's through the state, but it's a federal grant. So we work from October to October or October to September. And when we submit those claims, we usually don't receive the reimbursement for a couple months. So sometimes it takes a while for those grant reimbursements to come in. With those grants, 50% goes to equipment that we acquire for our officers and for our department and operations, and then 50% goes into labor. So in the 2024 to 2025 grant, we had close to over 60,000 granted to us. So about 30% or 30,000 of that is going to be reimbursed in the labor. So again, our budget looks off because of the way that we receive our money and reimbursement and when our contracts hit. Am I on the right track? Am I missing anything?
The only thing I'd like to add is in reference to the lease agreement with Axon,
Yeah.
which is the cameras for the
It's
patrol
a
officers.
lot, yeah.
During April, during the audit, the auditors had us recognize the full interest expense in the first year of the lease expense at inception, which was unplanned, but it is within GAAP for us to do that, and it was a request on their part. And so we honored that request and fully expensed in April the interest expense and the amortization expense for the new lease with Axon.
For an entire year.
For an entire year.
Yes. Did that answer your questions, or do you have any other concerns?
That was it.
Kate,
That's it.
Are you sure?
would you like to address the retirement today?
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. I'm like, I got a schedule today. For those who don't know, Leon Woody, who served as our community patrol officer, so house watch checks, I'm sure he has been a staple for this community. He's worked for Fairfield Glade for 34 years, not as long as Miss Pat. But he is retiring technically tomorrow, but we are having a celebration for him. So please come visit us at the police department from 12 to 2. Come stop by, say hi to him, say goodbye to him, wish him well. So we appreciate anyone to come and celebrate with us. Thank you for that plug-in.
Okay, we have two of our commissioners here today, Joe Sherrill and Colleen Mall. Is there anything you guys want to say? No, thank you, okay. All righty. President's report. Mine's going to be pretty quick because we were going to have other people speak to some of the other things that we're going to go through. So Kathy Tipton will talk about the election a little bit later on, and we're going to include the report on Windham into Mark's report. So he'll give you an update on where we are with that. I want to be careful here, and I just want to say this. Mark is in a unique position. He's still an employee of Windham, but he's also serving on the board. And there's some things that he can talk about. There's some things he can't. And we have to respect the fact that as an employee, he has some information that he's not authorized to give out. So from that perspective, you may have some questions and things like that, and you may get an answer. I can't talk about that now, or I don't know, or whatever that answer is, and we have to be respectful of that. But it is a good idea for Mark to kind of give the update because he can fill in a couple blanks that we don't know, okay? So please be careful about that, okay? What I will say is that we have seated two new board members. That's Isaac Zuricher, who is the at-large representative, and Mark McLean, who is the interval owners representative. Is there anything you guys want to say at this point? It's up to you.
No, that's fine.
No, I just want to thank all the members that got out and voted. Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah. Isaac, do you want to respond to Tom's question here?
Yeah, Tom, so, all right, I'm still figuring all this out. But, so Tom, to your question, I don't know if that should have been an executive session or not because I wasn't there. I was out of state on a previously scheduled business trip that I had. So I was watching this live stream. So.
You got an opportunity at the end. Okay, and then I'll also let everyone know who the board officers are. I was elected as president. Scott Hartema is the vice president. M.K. Jacobson is the treasurer. And Monica is, Heisel is the secretary. So those are the officers for the coming year, okay? All right, with that, we'll turn it over to MK, the treasurer's report.
Thank you. The summary financial results as of August 31st, 2024 are as follows. POA and amenities, the overall revenue through August is behind schedule by approximately $630,000 or 3.7%. Assessment revenue was mainly in line with estimates, and other revenue exceeded budget again by approximately 4%. Amenity revenue is below budget by approximately 6%, and I'll get into the details of that further down. Community maintenance revenue exceeded budget by approximately 15%, and food and beverage were below approximately 5%. Cost of goods sold are meeting expectations with a positive variance of $27,000. It's anticipated that the cost of goods sold would be approximately $1.7 million for the year to date, and actuals were $1.6 million respectively. Golf cost of goods were above expectations by 1.4, and food is slightly higher, but still with a negative variance of 1%. Operating expenses, including payroll, in August we were experiencing positive trends in general expenses, permits, license, repairs, materials, and payroll. FGCC experienced an overall $286,000 in savings. Our net income for POA and amenities has a deficit of $317,000 against budget through August. We are behind schedule due to lower than anticipated amenity revenue in golf and food and beverage. And just to give you a little explanation of that, weather has not been in our favor this year. We started out exceptionally cold, which is not the best weather to play golf in, and we've had high heat and rains for a lot of the year. Year to date, we are down 13,100 rounds due to weather, and last year the total was 13,175, so you can see that we're trending ahead of last year. And also tied to that, the snack bar revenue, which has a tendency to draw down some of the F&B revenue, is tied to those golf rounds. In wastewater treatment and sewer, the overall revenue was ahead by 6% or $123,000 through August 2025. Tap fees are above by approximately 34%, while commercial sewer fees are off by 10%. Operating expenses, including payroll through August, are better than guidelines by $171,000. Payroll is $136,000 better than budget, and repairs are $41,000 positive. Net income for sewer operations overall is $294,000 better than guidance, with net income at $522,000. Thank you. You want to answer? This is my other brain.
Tom, could you ask the question again in reference to the reserve?
So of the total reserve over the 10 years, the total amount of the spend, approximately how much of that is related to non-amenities? Just normal maintenance on things like, it could be roads, I'm just guessing.
So before you leave, so your question is, you want a 10-year total of reserve study spend that is non-amenity related?
Correct.
Now, do you want capital and repairs and maintenance, or
Correct.
you want both?
Want both. What
Okay.
I'm looking at is I'm comparing the amount we collect to the amenity reserve fees directly related to those and the spend for the non-amenities to compare.
So there have
You
to be
got
some, there have to be some tabulation.
I
okay.
understand. Yeah, thank you.
As we're on this topic, Jason, do you want to talk a little bit about how we funded the reserve study for the last couple of years? There were some questions about that last month. And I'd like to make sure that everyone understands that we have money in the budget for 26, and that we have had money in for 24 and 25, and those projects are active.
So we've added 2 new sheets to the member section of the financials. They are on page 16 and 17, and this is our reserve study spend, and it's broken out by project, whether it's capital or regular repairs and maintenance. And this, you will see this form going forward, and this is based on the 10-year reserve study, the multi-year reserve study that they were commissioned in 2023. So that there's identified per year, per project, reserve study spend, and we will keep track and update the membership through these forms going forward.
Up. Wait till the end. Nico? Wait till the end. I'm sorry, we're not getting into question and answers here.
Jason?
No.
Could you
No.
put cells in
Nico.
here?
Nico?
I can't read across horizontally.
Nico?
You know what I'm saying? On 16 and 17.
Nico? We're not going to answer the questions now. You can get up at the end and ask your questions, and we'll try to answer them. Okay? Thank you. All right?
No, it's not right.
Let me get back on track here. Is there any other things you guys want to cover? Okay, hearing none. Bill, your report.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning, everyone. I hope some of you saw the email yesterday updating the Druid Hills Clubhouse project. In reference to that, the basement concrete footings and most of the basement retaining walls are now completed, and the formwork has been removed. So that entire lower level service area is framework is in place. The service elevator is if not fully completed, it's right at about 90% complete. The grease service trap for the food service, that has been installed in the service yard. The fire riser is also installed. We had a meeting with the architect and our regular scheduled meeting last Thursday with the architect and the general contractor. and there are no critical path concerns at this juncture relative to the construction schedule. If anything, we continue to operate slightly ahead of schedule, which is good. Given you want to be in that position ideally before going into the winter months, because we can encounter some unexpected weather. But the project remains on schedule and on budget at this juncture. The Firehouse and Emergency Management Services Building update. We did have a delay as far as any with getting the final documents back from primarily the civil engineers. Those were received earlier this week. So we do have those, and that was the one piece that the GC was waiting on to be able to complete their final cost estimates. So we anticipate having those final cost estimates and review for a formal approval of the project cost at the October board meeting. The GC does have us scheduled on their construction schedule and anticipates moving forward with construction immediately thereafter. So that's where we currently are with that facility. The Racket Center expansion is continuing the steering committee to work on finalizing cost estimates on that project, with the also looking at the possibilities of viabilities of a phased approach to that project as opposed to a one-time. What is the pros and cons of that approach on many levels, but that will be forthcoming in the future. Currently, that any type of presentation on that project is on hold. With regards to your questions, Tom, on food and beverage, yes, I've had numerous discussions in the past several months regarding Bobby Jones Link's financial performance, and some areas have been addressed, some not so quickly addressed as possible relative to their scope. These are certainly matters that are being evaluated and weighed as part of our ongoing relationship with Bobby Jones Links. The current agreement expires in February. We are in negotiation discussions with them relative to that. In fact, I have a meeting next week to discuss that very topic with Bobby Jones Links, and then more information on that front will be forthcoming as we work through the budget process for next and approval process for next year.
Okay. So as long as we're in updates, why don't you, Scott, give an update where we are with the MOU with the fire department?
Yeah, I think Mayor Foster answered most of the questions with the MOU. The MOU, the county's working on that, and it's taken some time. The fire department has submitted their budget, both their annual operating expenses as well as the cost to add the EMR program. We've included it in the budget. We haven't formally voted on it, but if you were at the annual meeting, you will note that several members around this table expressed their support for the program. So I don't anticipate anything getting in the way of that approval process moving forward. So we're trying to do as quickly as we can, given all the steps that we have to take. So
one more just update, the Oak Knoll extension. I know many of you have seen that work that commenced up around Kingsborough, has been coming down Catoosa and crossed over down Westchester now. It's about 1,800 feet of pipe have been laid thus far. It's anticipated that work will be completed by the end of November. So just wanted to give you that update as well.
All right. Mark, resort report.
Yes, sir. So I won't be going through the usual report that Bob went through. I think there's other things to talk about except for occupancy. Although occupancy for the month of October is up 7 points year over year, we're running at about 84% compared to a 77 last year. So that's good news. Whether that's folks coming in that have been coming here for the last 30 years and just wanting to come back for a nostalgic visit, I'm sure of some of that. I expect totally as we go into the later months, Thanksgiving will be busy, probably not as busy. Christmas, the same thing. Most of our employees are hanging tight with us right now. We have lost some. We expect more to go out. As far as Windham and where we are at with the closing of the property, It will take place on January 4th, as of today. It's been a moving target. A lot of the things that are going on, legalities and whatnot, has been a moving target as we go through this. I was informed, and I remember the date, not because it was a shocking date. It was near my 30th anniversary with my wife. She's a saint, yes. So the 3 senior vice presidents came walking through the door, said we want to meet in the boardroom, sat down, and we're all looking at each other going, who's getting fired? We didn't know at that time, we all were. So it was a little shocking day. So it's been pretty quick since then. Nottingham Village proxy went out last week for an annual special meeting of the owners. And that's where they will vote whether we'll continue the regimes or not. We'll vote on a sales company, a receiving agents company, and a few other items. So if you are a timeshare owner, if you own a Nottingham Village, you should be receiving that proxy soon. The remaining 7 proxies will go out next week. The meetings will be held the second week of October, and as soon as that is taken care of, and we know due to the fact that Windham owns majority of the inventory in Club Windham, that it will sell. It will be shut down, excuse me. Like I said, we have hired a real estate company, Nilco, they're worldwide. My last meeting with them is, they've got a few people on looking right now. Can't mention names because it's not official yet. Just in everything. So some people have been calling me and saying the inventory is still open after January 1. Well, it's not official yet legally that we are closing. Until that takes place and everything can start moving forward after that point in time. And that's about as much as I know right now that I can talk about. And I'm sure everybody understands, like Greg said, some things I can talk about, some things we can't, the publicly traded company and so on and so forth. I don't know if I want you to open the questions
we'll get
later on.
people,
Okay, so if you have any questions when we go to that again, I'll be glad to answer. If you want to meet with me after the meeting, if you're an owner and you want to know what to do, I do know for some of you what's going to be happening is either you can say, I'm in the deal, I'm going to stay in, we're going to close, but I'm going to stay as a fixed week owner, I've got a deed, and when that's sold, a proportionate amount of money will go to you, split up amongst all the owners. The other avenue is if you're a deeded owner here, Windham is setting up a program where you can transfer your deeded week to the points program free of cost. Now, I say that with caution, and some of you probably already picked up on the reason because I love our sales department, it's forcing what we do, but they'll move you over for free, but I guarantee you they'll try to sell you more points. I can guarantee you that much. That for sure. So, again, anytime you guys see anything, you can ask a question today. You know where my office is. Been here 28 years, and it's been a privilege.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Greg, if I can just add one thing. We do get a lot of questions from members who own Windham timeshares, and they ask us all these questions. When do I get my notice? Where's it coming from? When's the vote? And if you guys would just call, Windham for those things, or call your own timeshare group for those things, because we don't have any idea other than what Mark tells us.
And just to add, if you're going to call down to Florida, they're just going to reroute you to me, most likely. And sometimes you're going to just get, like in any big corporations, I don't mean this in a bad way, just the way it happens, is you get transferred from department to department. Just come see me. I'm here Monday through Friday. Glad to see you.
Yeah, and as Monica points out, and I said at the annual meeting, I'll say it again here so everyone's clear about it, we have no management relationship with Windham. In other words, we get the public notices that the public lets out. We don't get all the notices that the owners get. So just want to be clear with that, and that's one of the reasons why we got to be very careful when we answer questions, because we just don't know. And we don't want to give false or incorrect information to people on this transaction. So that's what's going on there. Okay? Kathy Tipton is going to give her a little report out on the election. She's the chairperson of the election committee. in case you don't know that.
Morning. Phew. I don't know about you, but phew. I just happen to have with me, I'm going to give a shameless plug for the election committee. I just happen to have with me an application to join me on the election committee next year, and I hope someone takes this home with them today. Join me on the election committee next year. It's a fun committee. We do good work. You can learn a lot about being on the governance of the club, how the club works, how the election committee works, how our elections work. So think about it. Joining me on the election committee next year. We have 5 members right now. We would like to have 7. So don't look so shocked. You all look shocked. Think about it. Being on the election committee with me next year. The committee is pleased to be able to oversee every year's election. This year for 1 at-large director position, and congratulations to at-large director Isaac Zerker, declarant director Ellen Anderson, and interval owner director Mark McLean. Of course, the at-large director, the declarant director, and the interval owner director are elected to 3-year terms by the entire voting membership of the Fairfield Glade Community Club. That's you. The committee would like to thank everyone who voted, and especially everyone who voted electronically. As you know, it became apparent after the CNR amendment voting results were announced at the annual meeting that there was an issue with the reported yes votes received. Upon review with survey and ballot systems, we were informed that the vote total reported did not reflect a weighted vote count of 1 vote for each property owned, as is the voting practice for Fairfield Glade Community Club. After consultation, survey and ballot systems, our election partner, provided a corrected report reflecting the proper weighted vote count, and there is no change in the outcome of the vote, of course. The committee will meet tomorrow. We will be reviewing the survey comments submitted by members, as well as the events leading up to the error in voting tabulation for the CNR amendment. Thank you. Are there any questions? Are questions allowed?
Yes, those questions, you can ask
there any
questions here.
questions?
Please come up if you're going to ask a question. Maybe there are none.
No questions. Thank you.
What I do want to say is people really don't really appreciate the kind of work the election committee has to go through. And this is particularly an interesting year because for the first time since I know of, we had an amendment. And we don't typically have those. And not only did we have an amendment, but we changed the date of the amendment. We were going to vote on it in May and June, and then we changed it to the time that we were electing the board members. So this committee had to do a lot of rocking and rolling and changing, and they really did a great job. This also is a great election for us to learn a lot of things because it was unusual. So what we do every year is exactly what Kathy said. Tomorrow we'll be getting together and we'll be going through. Some of you made comments. There was an opportunity for you to do that on your ballot to say this is what I like, this is what I didn't like. We'll be going through all those and we'll be looking at that. And we'll probably follow the same thing that we did last year. In the middle of October roughly, we'll give you it's over, the vote's in. And we'll give you a little idea of what the comments said, what we're trying to do about them, and how we're approaching for next year's election. So all that's to come, but really, thank you, Kathy, and I'll make sure that we also thank the election committee members tomorrow. There's only 2 committees that are called out in our CNRs and bylaws, and that's the ACC and the election committee. All the other committees are advisory. And so these are very important committees. They're called out special, and there's the reason why they do that. So the election committee really runs the election, and I mean that sincerely. Kathy feels like she did, right? Okay. All right, so thank you for that. Okay, we'll move into old business. Monica.
Yes, we're going to talk about a couple policies. As you know, our operating procedure is when either the ACC or someone else has recommended a change to the policy, the ACC reviews it thoroughly.
makes changes, posts it for 30 days, but they get guidance from us, is it ready to post? And then it posts for 30 days, and I'll tell you the magic of the 30 days, it posts right after the meeting that we say we're gonna post it, and then if there's nothing significant to change it, just maybe a letter or a plural or something, then we in fact vote on it at the following meeting. So there are two policies that are listed here, and then I'll address Nico's question about the two that aren't going to be voted on or discussed here. The first one is the revised variance, waiver, and appeal policy. And surprisingly, we had very few comments on that. But the only change that is being recommended by the ACC is the duplicitous routing. So what used to happen is somebody got a notice that they needed to change something, take something down, whatever, and they would decide, they would try to figure out what's going on, and then if they needed to appeal, they would go in front of the ACC and appeal. And then the ACC would either affirm or deny, and then it would go on to the next stage. Well, what happened is then the next stage actually was back before the ACC before they could get in front of the board. And they recognized this misstep in the policy, or what they believed was a duplicate action. So that was causing the person to have to go through another appeal with the ACC, and then if they still wanted to appeal, go to the board. So the second ACC appeal has been eliminated, and we've not received comments about that. It's certainly a friendlier thing to do with people that are in danger of getting fines or delays on anything. So I would like to offer to the board that I recommend that we approve the revised variance, waiver, and appeal policy.
Is there a second?
Second?
Is there any further discussion on the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
The next one is the revised parking policy. And just to explain to you what's going to be, you're going to see that online if you haven't already seen it. The essence of that one is there are all kinds of new, I want to say automobiles, but that's not even a true word, all kinds of new vehicles out there, souped up ATVs and bikes that become cars and things like that. So the ACC felt it was important to delineate which of those things could park in your driveway, because as you know, you can't park a broken down car or an RV or things like that for extended periods of time. So they wanted to itemize what that is. So there's now a revised parking policy being posted. It'll be up until our next board meeting. If we don't receive things that cause enough insight that we want to send it back and redo it again, then I'll bring that to vote, or actually Isaac will bring that to vote at the next board meeting. Does anybody have any question about that? I'm going to get to the other two.
Well, we'll wait for questions at the
All
end.
right.
Okay.
So the next thing is, Nico was asking about the ones that aren't there. There's a revised fence policy that's been posted. I know it's been posted a long time. I know it's changed, but we got to be thorough with this. We're not taking it lightly. There's still a couple questions that I and a couple other board members feel like we need to understand better before we would vote affirmative on that one. So that one's going to stay up, maybe revisited by the ACC, but we'll be having a conversation with them the very next ACC meeting. The other policy is the lighting policy, and that one was sent back at the last board meeting. And the reason we sent it back to the ACC is we know that there's, and this is not a dark skies debate, so that's not what's coming into here. But we wanted to make sure that we were grounded in the commitment that we had made to dark skies, which is not making us a dark sky community, but kind of the do no harm. So don't go further away from it by making a policy. So the lighting policy, in fact, the information from the dark skies has been given to the ACC, and now it's up to them to alter the lighting policy and then post it, leave it up for a whole 30 days, which I call the distance between two board meetings, and then we'll discuss it after that.
Okay. Thank you, Monica.
That's all I had.
We have one nomination to fill a seat on the Environmental Commission, Environmental Committee, and that's James Janasek. He was interviewed last month by the Environmental Committee and recommended to be seated. And I will make that motion that he is seated as a member of the Environmental Committee. Do I have a second?
I second.
Any conversation? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? He is seated. Okay. Any remarks by board members?
I guess I do.
Go ahead.
As part of being secretary, we decided as a board to alter some of the duties. It'll still contain the duties it has, but it's also that I'll work closely with Shannon in communications, and that I'll do a better job than we have, hopefully. I plan on it, with making sure you get your questions answered and making sure the ones that we can't answer here, which there are some that we absolutely can't, then we get those answers posted, or at least get the acknowledgement that the question was asked and can't be answered at this point in time. Sometimes you just don't have an answer. So I just thought I'd let you know that.
Okay. Any other board member comments? Hearing none, any member comments that you want to make or questions?
Tom Ratcliffe. During this whole election process, and specifically the amendment and what we've gone through, I'm sure there's a lot of learnings. I took a lot away from it, and one of the things that I took away was the concern by members about how the board operates, how decisions are made, how we hold them accountable, and specifically, how they relate to our bylaws. We had an incident come up that shed light on the fact that we had a board enter into a policy that was really contrary, in my opinion, to our bylaws way back when. And that causes concern on my part, it causes concern on the members' part, and leads to trust issues. So I'd like to take and recommend, and I hope members will support me in pushing the board to adopt this, and that would be, presently we do a financial audit to ensure that the board and all of Fairfield Glade, that our finances are being handled correctly. I'd like to propose that the board adopt and start next year, put it in the budget and then start next year, a compliance audit. Compliance audit is different than a financial audit, but somewhat similar. The compliance audit is going to actually go through, and I'm generalizing, going to ensure that the board, amongst other things, is following our governing documents, it's following state law, and on and on and on. There's a multitude of reasons for it, but I believe it's something that we need to do to ensure
1
that,
minute remaining, Tom.
to ensure that our board has the confidence by the members in how they adopt policies, so the board can also have confidence that they are doing the right thing along the way. And I would hope that the board would see this as a positive to building the trust in the community. So, thank you.
Anyone else?
I can just comment on that one right now. I'll get some more details from you, but we won't be able to answer that one today, so thank you.
Hold on, Ted, you got somebody snuck up on you.
Good morning, my name is Joe Fitzgerald, Trentwood Drive. I did a little presentation at the annual meeting last week. I had some questions that nobody had time to answer. I'm here for a follow-up. My concern in the community is the infrastructure. It always has been, in particular the roads. It's kind of interesting as right now the roads are being paved and chipped and sealed. County roads are under the purview of the road superintendent of the county. He oversees the roads. Neither the mayor or the county commissioner has any say in the treatment of our county roads. The roads in Fairfield Glade, for the most part, are county roads. How the roads funded and taxed on, the state has a mechanism through gasoline tax, EV tax, and county assessment taxes to fund the road projects, with the exception of Fairfield Glade, which we as residents pay $700,000 annually to maintain and pave our roads. Okay. My questions are, as an example, the road that I live on is scheduled right now to be chip and sealed. It's been requested more times than one to be paved, and it's been denied. Given that fact, in the next 10 years that we would have to wait, our neighborhood would have to wait to get another request in for paving, the club would spend $7 million on paving. And only using that $7 million figure, that would only accomplish about 50 miles of road, which is approximately 25% of the roads in the Glade. If you extrapolate that, we're paying approximately $25 million to maintain county roads.
1 minute remaining, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Okay. I've talked with the county attorney and I've talked with the county road superintendent, and I have a couple of questions to this board. Why is there no written agreement between the Fairfield Glade County and the county of Cumberland regarding the paving of roads in the Glade? How is the unused balance of the funds handled that is not expended in any fiscal year? What process does the Fairfield Glade use to determine which roads are prioritized for paving and a selection decision is done? Why doesn't the board publish the list of roads scheduled to be done each year, and who on the board decides which roads get paved? Okay, I've asked these questions to your staff.
That's time,
Okay.
Mr. Fitzgerald. That's 3 minutes.
Can I have an answer? Can somebody answer my questions?
We've recorded the
No, wait a
questions.
minute, wait a minute. I already went through this last week.
I understand.
Okay,
Time's
I
up, sir.
presented this last week.
Well,
Okay,
as I
and
said.
I sent it to you.
Yes, and
Okay.
we have it, and we
Okay.
received it, and we need to take the time to work on that. Some of those answers are going to require us meeting with the county.
I realize
And-
the county has,
I'm
your
sorry, Mr.
staff has told me that you submitted a list of recommendations.
I'm sorry, Mr.
The
Fitzgerald.
county
but-
doesn't
but
have
we-
the list.
But we
You've
have.
never done it.
Thank you very much. But we will meet with the county, and we will be talking to them about how we're going to go forward with roads. We will answer your questions. We heard your comments last Friday, and I got your email, I think, over the weekend. So these are not questions that you can just answer automatically because it involves others. So we're going to involve the right people and make sure we get the right answers. Okay?
Can I have an anticipated date you have my answers?
We haven't, I can't give you a date because we haven't had the meetings to find out the complications that we're going to get into. You've asked some good questions. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. We need to get the right answers, okay? And that doesn't, we're going to take the time to make sure we have the right answers, and it's going to have to take some discussion between us and the county and others. Okay?
I can appreciate that, but I also, I'm looking at the neighborhood where I live, and this is not particular, it really appeals to every neighborhood we have.
No one can hear you, Mr. Fitzgerald, but I'll tell you that we've committed that we will have a meeting, okay? So, thank you very much for your comments. Any other member comments or questions?
Ted Landers. I want to talk about the CNR proposed amendment that went down. In my opinion, the proposed CNR amendment was not in the members' best interest and was rightfully overwhelmingly rejected, with 2/3 of the members voting no. There are many things, in my opinion, that were wrong with that amendment. The first is allowing the declarant to decide what is a reasonable cost. Amendment should have stated owners would be charged the actual cost of the road and improvements plus something such as a maximum of 10% additional cost. It also, the amendment needed to stipulate a formula on how each lot would be charged, such as if the road improvement was for 20 lots, each lot would charge 1/20th of the cost. We do the same thing for our sewer system. We have a formula for that. That should have been in there. And there are certain courts in our courts, meaning short roads, that are in our development that the developer is never going to pave because he doesn't own enough lots on there in order to make it practical for him to do. And as a consequence, they will never get paved. And that's just wrong. I would like to see in the future amendment, because I'm sure this will come up again, that the board, that the Fairfield Glade Club have the right to install roads of up to something like 1/2 mile a year or 3/4 of a mile a year, where we could address some of these issues that the developer, the declarant, would never do. So in conclusion, I think the board and management proposed a flawed amendment. I think they failed in their duty to protect its members, and the board must do better. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Questions? One thing I would, Mr. Fitzgerald, I would like to make sure that we understand here, and Jason, I'm going to look for you for backup. We do not fund and have not funded every year $700,000. It's a different number, and we've changed that number in different times in different years. So that is not quite accurate in terms of saying we fund that much money every year.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think I would have had more accurate numbers, except the staff didn't give me any information at all about it.
Well, we can.
I requested that number, I requested that from the staff.
We can get that number, and we'll let you know. We'll let you know at the next board meeting of what we do fund, okay? We can go back, probably 5 or 6 years at least, and let's take a look at what we do fund, and we'll make sure that you're aware of that, okay? Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions from anyone in the community? What's that? So, first of all, it's good to see many more people here participating in the governance of your community, and we're glad to have you here. And we encourage you to come back. We really do. And thank you so much for coming. And without any other comments or questions, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Oh, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.